Good day, RGB. Today on Valley por Vida, we're talking heat safety tips, a unique opportunity to possibly get paid just for speaking English, another account of the National Month calendar, and so much more. Now, let's get to it because the show starts right now. Hi there, and thanks again for joining us today. I'm your host, Danielle Banda. Now, to kick off today's show, we're going to give you just another breakdown of the National Month calendar, rather. There are literally so many different observances that you can take part in this month of the month of August, so we're just going to tell you about some of those right now. Now, according to the nationaldaycalendar.com, this month of August marks National Wellness Month. So, like we mentioned to you on yesterday's show, there are just so many things that you can do to stay on top of that. Now, the site first recommends that we drink lots of water. Not only is it good for our hydration, of course, but it's good for our skin and overall energy. It also outlines that we should try and remain as active as possible, whether that be stretching, walking, doing yoga, or even, trying something more complex like aerobics or swimming or salsa. This way, we can just keep our heart rate up so that our blood pumps through our bodies and, we can stay alert, because exercise helps keep our brains functioning and even helps to reduce stress levels. Now, it's also National Romance Awareness Month, so it's pretty cool because sometimes, we're just so busy in this crazy life of ours that we forget to honor or allow bonding time for our romantic relationships, or maybe we just only really give it a full effort around the Valentine's Day season or something like that. But luckily, the month of August is dedicated to reminding us that we should try and spend more time with our partners. We can also try and make more unique gestures to show them that we love them and care for them and, of course, appreciate them. We could also honor the month by gifting them something meaningful, from the heart. So maybe a handwritten letter or a poem, an original song, or a cover of a romantic one. There are lots of ways to show our loved ones that you indeed love them. And this month is a perfect time to put that back at the top of your priority list, especially if you've never really done that before. Maybe you're in an area that you're slacking and you have a little bit of room to improve. The site also says that the month of August is Spinal Muscular Atrophy Awareness Month. So the goal here is to educate ourselves on this and just help provide any support that we can for research and for those who suffer from it, or of course in any other way that we can, like volunteering for campaigns or helping fundraise for it, or even just to lend a hand in their mission for finding a cure. Now, the site outlines that we can visit curesma.org to learn about how we can get involved in those efforts taking place right here in our local community, and how we can help honor those who have unfortunately not made it, just due to complications of this disease. But if you do find a way to help spread awareness, then feel free to post about your journey to help inspire others. And you can use the hashtag CureSMA so that you can show people and they can easily find different events related to local efforts. Now, still now in August, we're feeling the effects of that summer heat. And that's honestly such high temperatures lately. It's really exhausting. That's why it's important to know about just different safety tips that, can help us survive these dangerous temps, but not only for us, our animals and our families and our loved ones. This is especially important when we're caring for somebody who has a lowered immune system or who's ill, like a loved one with dementia, for example. In fact, we recently spoke with a member of the Alzheimer's Foundation of America about how our great state of Texas has been dealing with this extreme heat and what we should do and keep in mind when it comes to protecting families who are impacted by dementia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Reeder. I'm the Director of Education and Social Services here at the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. I'm here today to talk with you all about how to support individuals, how to support your loved one who has dementia, because it can be very, very dangerous for individuals out in the heat for various reasons. Sure. So I think it's really important that if you're choosing to go outside, out into the community, that you prepare for that travel, that you prepare for that time to be outside. So really thinking about, okay, how long should we be outside? And so then being able to identify any cooling stations that might be in your community, or at least knowing areas that have air conditioning. And always making sure that you have water, not just for your loved one, but also for yourself as well, because it's really important to stay hydrated. Because, as we get older, it can be more and more difficult for our bodies to be able to regulate our body temperature. So older individuals are much more susceptible to heat exhaustion, which can lead to heat stroke. So something that we really need to be looking out for is when our loved one is starting to experience any type of heat exhaustion, hypothermia, because it can be very dangerous. It can lead to heat stroke. And so, it can be very difficult for the individual to possibly be able to identify their source of distress. So what we need to look out for is if there's heavy sweating going on for the individual, if their skin is clammy and cold, if their pulse is racing or starts to slow down, if the person starts to feel nauseous. These are all signs of heat exhaustion that we want to address by getting the person to a nice cool place to be able to cool down. Because if it starts to progress, that can lead to heat stroke, which can be very dangerous. Yeah, so when we talk about wandering or an individual getting lost, sometimes that can happen if a person isn't receiving the type of stimulation that they really need, that physical stimulation, social stimulation, mental stimulation, that can happen if we're inside all day. So if you're choosing to not go outside, just making sure that there are activities for the individual, for your loved one to be able to do throughout the day, so they don't become bored and start wanting to leave the home. So it can be very helpful to be able to have those ideas and those activities in place. Well, when we're talking about a plan, it's always really good if you're going to be going out into the community, if you're going outside, to have a plan. So how long are you going to be outside? Where are the cooling stations in your community? Where are the places where you can go that have air conditioning? Always having enough water on you, not just for your loved one, but also for yourself.
Now, there are even more things that we can keep in mind when it comes to protecting our families amid extreme heat in general, for everyone. So let's go ahead and talk about some of those things right now. So according to redcross.org, we've got to keep a goal of maintaining cool air in our home so that it's a safe haven that will protect you from the extreme heat that's outside. Now, the site says that we can focus first on covering our windows with drapes or shades in a dire emergency heat situation, maybe even board up your windows. The site also outlines that we should weather strip our windows and that it might even be a good idea to do this to our doors afterward. And then we can, also use tools like window reflectors or even aluminum foil covered cardboard, because it'll just help to reflect the heat back to the outdoors. So definitely something to keep in mind. Now, the site also recommends that we maybe look into adding insulation if we can, just as an extra measure to try and keep that heat outside. And if we need to use a powered attic ventilator or a fan, that could also be an option, since it'll help to filter the heat level in the attic and then take out all of the extra hot air that's trapped inside. We could also use air conditioners to our windows and even insulate those areas around them if we think it might help make a little bit of a difference in that particular room or living space. And whenever we plan on spending extended periods of time at home, then we might want to try and hang out in the coolest parts of the house. A place where there aren't that many windows and, that'll allow hot air to seep through. Plus, trying to occupy your time in the cooler areas of your home can even have health benefits. The site says that AC can definitely help to prevent or even reduce heat-related illnesses. So whenever we're in a position where we don't have access to air conditioning, it can really affect our bodies internally. Now, the site also says that we can always contact a neighbor or nearby friend or family member if we don't have AC at home, and hopefully somebody will allow you to spend some extra time at their place of residence until you can alter your living situation at your home. Plus, there are always public places that we could go to whenever we're feeling the need to kind of cool off from the heat if, we can't use our own house or neighbors or friends. The site recommends that places like malls and public libraries are good go-to options, and that there are usually plenty of community cooling centers in the hotter geographical regions. So it's just definitely something to look into. And of course, we've got to remember to drink plenty of water. And even though we talked about this at the top of the show, to promote health and wellness, now we're reminding you about the importance of consuming H2O for the benefit of your survival in extreme heat and similar conditions. We've got to remember that when we're dehydrated, it can really mess with our internal systems, and it doesn't help, when we drink lots of sugar, caffeine, or alcohol. Those essentially just deplete you. So instead, the site recommends that we eat our meals with plenty of water to wash it down. This way our levels of electrolytes are just able to stay, at a good rate. And then we're also able to replace the salt in our bodies that we usually lose, or the salt rather, from our bodies that we usually lose during natural things like sweating, And of course, if we're having any medical conditions or medications that do not necessarily contribute to a healthy water intake, we can always talk to our doctors about different safe ways that we can learn to incorporate more water into our daily lives. We've got to remember to make sure that we have plenty of water in emergency supply situations that can come in handy whenever we're experiencing heat conditions. The site says that we can gather food and medicine on top of water just to help make sure that we're staying hydrated and healthy, and that these things are also good to keep, in our to-go kits. And it also reminds that these kits usually have about 3 days worth of materials, and that they're portable, because both of those factors will definitely come in handy in the event of a heat emergency. And hey, if you want to take it a step further, maybe try your hand at collecting a month's worth of supplies. And as with anything of this nature, just make sure it's child-proof and pet-proof. So now that you kind of know what to prepare and what you're going to need to use for yourself and your loved ones to protect against the extreme heat effects of the sun, let's go ahead and take a break and just actually show you a little bit about what today's local weather looks like. Because if it's hot again, as it has been lately, then these tips are definitely going to come in handy right away. But stay tuned, because Valley Puerto Vida is going to be right back. And after that, we'll tell you about a unique opportunity that just might allow you to get paid for speaking English, which you most likely already do on a daily basis anyway. Plus, we'll talk about the fun facts of our local or English language in general, and a lot more when we come back.